And pushing the button.
The time's come.
Why is it saying end stream?
It just gets We're over his allotted time as well.
How's your tea, Graham?
We're getting there.
Oh, we got Sam.
What about Shark Tank?
Hey, Tim. Tim, you hear us?
Something's to Shark Tank.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
I've just moved I just got out Hungry Hippos and put my laptop on top of it so you can see. Sorry, I'm looking almost at the camera. Almost.
I hear that.
So, here's the deal. Nobody talks about crashing computers anymore because mine crashed.
I'm telling you, dude, the cyber attacks are underway, man.
Yeah, it's Russia. It's Russia.
Yeah. I'll teach them podcasters.
We just want to endlessly mock you.
Cocaine.
That's why they kicked the Russians out of the world's curling tournaments. They were worried about that.
So it's your fault, Brenna.
No, it's not my fault. I wanted them gone. They kept changing the name. Oh, it's the Russian Curling Federation.
Doing the same with football. Exactly.
It's like no. They're like no. We're just gonna kick you out. It's just that way.
Kick them out. They cheat.
Yeah.
They cheat.
They should have been kicked out a long time ago, but now that they're a threat to the security and safety of other people.
Not as much of a threat as transgender people. I mean, let's think about this. You've got the Russians cheating for years in the Olympics, but then there's a transgender person swimming. I mean, you know what's worse, don't you? Transgender person swimming, how dare they?
The Russian delegation turned up to the World Cup in Qatar today, and they turned around and said, "We are not hiding from anyone."
I
mean, they are in Qatar, so.
Why did Qatar get the World Cup? Why did Qatar get the World Cup?
Well, they're footballing legacy.
It's a desert. They've built 8 purpose-built stadiums in a desert, and they've air-conditioned them. It's not like we've got a climate emergency or anything. And they've got slaves to build them, like the fucking pyramids of old. Jesus Christ.
Cheaped out on materials, people dying left and right.
Sounds
about to be a white elephant in the desert in future years.
Yeah, but Graham, one of them's made out of shipping containers. You might have been on one of them.
Is anyone else getting like crappy internet or something?
It's not great right now.
It's horrible.
Mine's also not the
way. I'm usually plugged in, but I'm usually downstairs. But we've rearranged all downstairs to take photos to show the refugees that we're hoping to house what the place looks like. But when it's set up like my studio, I mean, obviously it looks a bit dodgy because there's all these like big studio lights
and cameras.
And there's cameras and there's a bed. There's a bed in the room.
It's like.
And it's like, this is where you will be sleeping in my porn dungeon.
Don't play the video camera in the corner.
Yeah, don't worry about
safety.
Those whips are not for you.
So basically,
you didn't pay the extra.
I've had to come upstairs to the games room. Hence propping up my laptop on Hungry Hippos.
Alright, ready guys?
And Cluedo Junior.
Here we go.
Cluedo is Clue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cluedo.
Our Clue is your Cluedo. Okay.
I don't know why they dropped the dough off it though.
Why is it?
I don't know. It's because Americans are stupid.
No. There'll be a copyright reason. Like someone else already had the name.
Licensing or something.
Yeah.
It's always something.
That's what it usually is.
Well, hello.
Except for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another binge day. Sorry for our tardiness, tech issues, and I was a sleepy boy. I got given the Adobe suite, and I've been very busy trying to learn everything.
Ooh,
So I haven't slept much.
That's fine.
I'm good at the Adobe suite.
I'm getting my way around. I made a couple of things that move,
Ooh,
which is very
the
cool.
animation,
I made
After Effects.
Yeah, making some stuff. But we are here with the normal gang, plus Tim, plus another special guest. Ba-ba-ba-bum.
Hello.
Graham is here.
Hello, I'm special.
In every way of the word.
I wasn't going to say anything.
What? You started it.
What's everybody smoking? What's everybody drinking?
I did have a cup of tea, but it's taken so long to get everything set up. I've drank it all, so nothing.
Cheers to that point, mate.
Jartan's only sports coffee. I'm
Wayne,
on
Tim,
the
right up.
Shiraz.
I'm having water.
I had a
I'm
drink.
skipping my free lunch today, so
We
But you're not
offered
bitter
to,
about it.
we offered to
I'm
buy you lunch.
I'm not saying anything. Oh, it would have taken the room service so long to get food
How you know?
here. It would have been gold.
How you know? Everybody going for the
That's
free
what
food.
happened. That's what happened before to some other people that they ordered room service and it just never showed up.
Tell them when you order the room service that you're all out of towels as well. You just got out of the shower. You get your damn food in fucking 10 minutes. That should be.
But it's not fully cooked. I don't care.
So we've got two people in hotel rooms today. Can we have some explanation as to Jartan and Brenna why you're in hotel rooms?
Are you in the same hotel room?
Yes. No.
Whoa!
No, she's across the hall.
Yeah. It's different because I have the two beds.
Yeah, I only have the one.
And a castle.
I don't have a castle.
I am working with the ice crew for the Men's World Curling Championship here at the Orleans in Las Vegas, and they asked, because we're getting the room for free, we're getting room and board. Obviously, I'm getting food for free that I'm missing right now. And I actually said, hey, give me a roommate. That's fine. And the only other woman who was here didn't want a roommate, so we got in separate rooms. But I do have a nice empty bed.
Damn, she broke up with you.
I know it was kind of rough, but it's okay. We're still friends.
And I am also in Vegas doing the whole curling thing, but I'm auditioning as a rock.
So you're with the
one of the Stones.
You're
I'm
with
one
the
of
Swedish
Stones.
team.
No, I'm
The
auditioning
Swedish
as a
team
stone.
arrived.
Yes, I'm auditioning as a stone.
And Tim, what have you been up to?
Stuff and things.
Mikey?
Nothing. I'm busy. Regular
I've
stuff.
just been doing work.
Just
Graham,
working.
what have you been up to?
I went to Ukraine.
You what?
I went to the border with of Ukraine and Poland.
How did that come about?
Well, I've got a thing where I think, well, if I don't do it, no one's going to do it. So I'll set up a thing to go over to Ukraine or go to the border of Ukraine, drop a load of medical supplies and humanitarian aid at the border, and then pick up a couple of refugees and take them to where they need to go in Europe. So I set off last Saturday with a guy called Bear, who was 6'6" and 27 stone, and when we had a camper van, right, because that's the only thing we could hire for some reason, and when we got there, we dropped the stuff off, and then we had a couple of spaces for refugees. So we took two young people, Alexandra and Alex. So Alex and Alex, we were taking to Alexandra's, they were cousins, and we took them to Alexandra's mum's place in Dusseldorf. But it was quite funny because you couldn't move the driver's seat back
Oh.
because it hit the sink because it was a camper van, and basically 6'6" guy, 27 stone. You know when you play Mario Kart, you know when you play like Bowser, and he's got this tiny little cart, and he's like Bowser
Nice.
sized. Yeah, he looked a bit like that. So that was good. But yeah, it was an interesting experience to say the least. It was very inspiring, the amount of good people who had gone over there to help people on the border. We went to a place called Medica, and
Shut up, Wayne.
people had just come there to help. And unfortunately, there was a couple of problems that I saw straight away. First of all, I didn't see hide nor hair of the UNHCR, which is the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, which is supposed to be there, I guess, looking after people coming through. And I didn't see much of the Red Cross either. Some of the things that we brought to the border included stuff like an oxygen concentrator and a defibrillator for the medics that are working there. And I said, they said, well, we need a defibrillator. We haven't got one. So I was like, okay, cool. It wasn't until I got there I realized when they said that they hadn't got one, I just thought it was their aid agency didn't have one, but
Right.
they didn't have one on the border. And so there were little old ladies in their 90s who've been traveling for 10 days through a war-stricken land. And when they get over the border, there's no support if they have a heart attack or they need oxygen, because the Red Cross is somewhere else. I assume the Red Cross is, actually in Ukraine, but it just that was a bit shocking. And the other thing was the processing of refugees to get where they need to go. So I'll give a little bit of a pop quiz question. What do you think is going to happen if vulnerable young people are coming over the border and people are turning up at the border and saying, hey, get in my car, I'll drive you to where you need to go? Can anyone see a problem in that?
They definitely are. They're definitely not going to get trafficked.
Seems
Yeah,
legit.
there's no human trafficking going on right there.
So this is a huge problem, and I mean, I'm registered now as someone who can take refugees from the border. I've got a wristband
I'm glad you
and
said
everything.
that.
But human trafficking has gone on, and I can't believe, like, this conflict's been going on for over a month. Where's the UNHCR? Where's the Red Cross? That was so. The whole thing was like it was great to see so many well-meaning people, volunteers who have been there for weeks now on the border, giving out food and finding places for people to stay and giving medical help to people, all that kind of stuff on the border. And they were all volunteers, and they were all for different aid organizations. There wasn't like one particular aid organization that was overseeing it all. And there was a bit of a mixed sort of attitude towards the Red Cross coming in and just sort of taking over. It would be good if they did that and they kept the people who were volunteering there anyway and took them on as part of the Red Cross. They're volunteers; they're not asking to be paid. And if they got moved away from the border, that would be quite bad because they've been there for weeks and they've built a little community for themselves. But the other thing is, it's who takes responsibility if someone is trafficked. Who takes responsibility for that? If someone has a heart attack at the border, queuing up for 5 hours to cross the damn thing, who takes responsibility for that? So I could see straight away there were big issues going on. And when I asked about the Red Cross in particular, they said that it was being considered. I was like, well, what's to consider? There are vulnerable people. There's 4 million displaced people now from Ukraine. That's both in Ukraine and in Europe. 4 million from this conflict, the most of any European conflict since World War II. And
can you just speak to that little thing that you highlighted to me the other day about the British involvement at the border and what shocked you the most about our involvement?
Well, I was going to come to that, yeah. So that was a bit rubbish, and then I went to the Refugee Humanitarian Aid Centre, which was an old Tesco supermarket that I I guess, repurposed or reopened in order to do this. And to get in, you needed a wristband, and then they had a separate area where refugees could go and give their names in order to get going on a visa application if they want to come to the UK. They don't need a visa for any other country in Europe. They don't need a visa for Belarus. They don't need a visa for Russia. Yeah, if they're mad enough to want to go to Russia, they don't need a visa for that. But if they want to come to the UK, they need a visa. So,
Sounds stupid.
on top of that, if you want to accommodate people who are refugees from Ukraine, like we have downstairs here where I normally do my filming, it's a bedroom, it's a spare bedroom. I'd have to find somewhere else to film. Guess up here. But we're willing to take some people. But to do that, you need to get their names, and you don't just have to get their names. You have to get them to submit their passports, their birth certificates, a utility bill from this year. It has to be after January the 1st, 2022. And this is because the evil Hitler Pingu woman, who is our Home Secretary,
Priti Patel.
really, really hates refugees more than anything else in the world. And she hates a lot of things. She's a hateful character. And so she's made it incredibly difficult for Ukrainian refugees, well, any refugees to come here, but particularly Ukrainian refugees, in contrast with everywhere else in Europe, in which, they're welcome. They're welcome. They don't need a visa. And I heard a story today about a family. There was a woman traveling with her 3 children, and they had managed to get visas for the woman and her 3 children, but she's pregnant, or she was pregnant. She's just given birth.
Jeez.
And the British government have demanded the newborn baby has a fucking visa to come in the country, in case, I don't know, it's a Russian spy.
What?
So they've had to apply for an extra visa, but to do that, they need the birth certificate, and they're not in Ukraine, they're in Poland. So how do they get a...
I mean,
have you seen the movie V for Vendetta? He had the right idea. That's all I can say.
I mean, at some point, someone should have some paperwork, but asking a baby to get a visa might be...
But the reason, Mikey, given is because they might be a Russian spy. There's a fucking Russian spy in our House of Lords. We have an unelected lawmaker for life. It's a lifetime appointment. Imagine if the Supreme Court, instead of having 9 knobheads, it was like 900 knobheads. That's our House of Lords. They are appointed for life. We can't get rid of them. We can't unelect them. And a Russian spy who has spent the last 15 years integrating himself quite blatantly into British society and spreading Kremlin lies and Kremlin fake news has been allowed to do what the hell he likes, and he's now been made a lawmaker. So our country, Britain, it's just... I didn't think it was possible for my stupid bastard cunting country to embarrass itself any more than it already has. But oh my God, they've surpassed themselves. They really have. And I'm getting quite emotional about this, because when you go there and you see what people have been through, and Alexandra, the young woman who we brought to her mum's, she was only 20, and she actually looked younger than 20. And she had on her phone pictures from Kherson, her town where she came from, of like dead bodies in the streets that she recorded on her phone. Wow. And you're not coming back from that. Do you know what I mean? That is something that is going to take
traumatizing.
That shock that has happened to millions of people.
And we here in Britain are saying, show us your papers.
Yeah.
The irony.
Yeah.
The fucking irony.
And I mean, I'm going to go back next week, I think, take some more aids. There's a few more bits and bobs, like medical stuff. So I'm organising that now. And maybe I'll take a minibus so I can pick up more people.
Are there any links that you want to share here that we can
Yeah, if you go to UK for UKR, as in Ukraine, and it's the number, so UK for UKR.com, and that's the website that we set up, and it's got a funding link, and also it's got blogs on there with loads of pictures and stuff of our travels. And in the next day or so, when I get a minute to myself, I'll be putting some videos up there as well, which will be edited versions, because we live streamed the whole thing. We just put a camera up in the van, and we just live streamed it. So obviously no one's going to want to watch back a 5-hour live stream of us driving down a Polish motorway, but I'm thinking I can sit there for 5 hours, get the really good juicy bits out, and then put them into a video that's mildly watchable.
Can you tell me that link one more time? I'm not finding it.
It's UK 4 number 4.
Oh.
UKR.com.
Yep, got it.
And the com is short for communism.
Gone full circle. But no, the reason I asked you on this week, Graham, is because I've been watching the streams in and out, and it's just mad to think that someone like yourself will just have the gumption to just get up and just go and do it. You know, I know you've got commitments at home and stuff, but it's the fact that you've got up and gone and done it where other people are not. Other people are just sitting there sort of like pearl clutching and, you know, and it bad and not doing anything about it. So well done to you, mate.
Thank you, but I mean, I don't blame people for not being able to go and just leave the country and drive for 5 days. Do you know what I mean? It's most people have got commitments. They've got kids to take to school. They've got, you know, meals that you can't just leave, get up and leave. I'm very lucky, actually. My partner's very understanding. She knew what I was like when she got with me.
Right.
So it's a bit like that bit in Airplane where they say they knew what they were getting into when they bought their tickets. I say, let them crash. She's known me since we were kids. So, like, you know, it was very much eyes open. That was after I'd been to every country in the world. I'd lived on a desert island for 3 years after I'd done all that. We got together. So she's been following me from afar on Facebook for many years.
So you've got it out of your system now, yeah?
Got one out of my system. Well, I'm wanderlust.
These frivolous flights of fancy.
No. That's never going to happen. But the thing is, there were loads of people who helped set this up. It wasn't just me and the guy I went with, Chris Rossi, whose nickname is Bear, because he's the size of a freaking bear.
He does look a unit.
He is huge. But yeah, there was Kieran Donovan, who's Kieran the Van Man, who's well known in the UK for being the guy who took on Jacob Rees-Mogg about getting imports and exports in and out the country. And also there was Paolo Arrigo, who is he's one of my old Remain friends back in the day. He was part of the EU flag mafia. Do you remember, Wayne, when instead of having Union flags at the last night at the proms, it was all EU flags? Yeah. Paolo sorted that out. That was Paolo.
Really?
Yeah. And also, my mate Robin, who is a paramedic, he managed to get some stuff for us from down in London. He's the guy who stink bombed the big Leave rally when we left the EU. Along with me, with some strumming, which is like really stinky fish stuff from Sweden.
That's Jartan stuff.
Yeah, Jartan's favorite lunch.
He loves
food. And then there was Sarah, who came and met us, and for us to pick some stuff up. My mum, my brother, who also picked stuff up. You know, so I could go and pick things up on the way down to the port. The Channel Tunnel, sorry. And then there was the people who supported us. We raised 3 times more than our target, and that was just phenomenal and great. If people can't do this themselves, but they want to pay, you know, so someone else can do it, or, you know, buy the stuff. I'm not getting paid for this. Then that's them doing the best that they possibly can in this situation. And I tell you, I haven't seen the country come together like this for a very long time. There was a woman in the supermarket, in the Costco cash and carry, and she overheard my conversation on my phone to one of my mates about going over to Ukraine, and she just gave me £50. She just gave me, the little old lady said, "Oh, take this."
Wow.
I'm like, "Oh, it's okay." She said, "No, give it to the Ukrainians." So I did. And even like when I was at the refugee center in Poland on the border, a guy comes over to me and he goes, "Are you that YouTuber?" And I went, "Which one?" There's lots of us. And he said, "Are you the one who talks bollocks about Brexit all the time?" And I'm like, "Probably, yeah." And he goes, "Oh, I know you. You're Graham. And I got something to say to you. I'm a leaver, right?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't get away with it. Can't get away with these people." And he said, "But you made some good points. I don't agree with you, but you made some good points." I thought, "Okay, that's nice." And it turned out that he'd actually been traveling around Europe with his wife, who's a Remainer, for the last month, actually, dropping refugees off around the continent. So not all leavers are bad.
No, this is very true. But the thing the contradiction that we highlighted a few weeks ago is all of a sudden everyone wants to receive refugees from Ukraine, but the reason that we have this bill that's just been signed off in Parliament is for all the refugees that are coming over from France on dinghies. So you've got this massive contradiction going on, and there's only one reason that we can kind of see what's going on there. What do you reckon?
Well, we all know why.
Yeah, it's and it makes me die the hypocrisy of certain people that will sit there and go, "Oh, we want a Ukrainian," but oh no, them ones, no, they can do one. It's weird that.
Well, I mean, we got some criticism because people said to us, like, well, what about Yemen? What about Eritrea? And I said, I can't drive to fucking Yemen. I can drive to Ukraine. I can literally get in a vehicle and go to Ukraine tomorrow. I can do that. I can't get to Yemen because there's a fucking Saudi Arabia in the way, and they're the ones bombing Yemen. I mean,
yeah. Because Yemen is effectively a peninsula, isn't it? Where the way it's situated is kind of just stuck out there. There's no way of getting to it unless you go through Saudi Arabia.
No, well, you can get there on a boat. I don't own a boat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's effectively a peninsula in that sense.
Graham, you've got an island, but you don't have a boat. How does that make sense?
Oh, I do have a boat, but it's not going to get me all the way to Oman. Oh, sorry, Yemen.
They give you an island and said no boats though. What the fuck?
No, I've got a boat. It's on the island. But no, if I lived in Oman, if I lived in Salalah, which is right next to the border with Yemen, I'd be going over, dropping off humanitarian supplies at the border. Of course, I would be. It's just Ukraine is there. Do you know what I mean? But that's what Wayne's talking about. Is the fact that for the last 12 years of this bastard government, they have been they've had a hate boner for foreigners, and it started with this hostile environment of Theresa May's when she was Home Secretary. This is even before Priti Patel came on the scene, and now you've got this woman, Priti Patel, who's done for bullying. She was found to be a bully in breach of the ministerial code that all ministers, all government ministers should abide by. And if they break any of the ministerial code, they are obliged, apparently, to resign. She didn't resign. The guy who put together the report, the civil servant, he resigned in protest at her not resigning.
Right.
And yet she's still our Home Secretary. And she is the daughter of immigrants. She's the daughter of economic migrants, for Christ's sake. I mean, they can't even claim to be refugees because they left Idi Amin's Uganda before Idi Amin took power.
So basically, she came over with her parents, and then said, "We're all right. Let's pull the drawbridge up." Everyone else
exactly. Close the door behind her.
Yeah.
That sounds fair.
It's not. Anyway, guys, I'm really sorry to do this, but I thought that I was going to be on a bit earlier, and I have to pick my partner up from the train station in 9 minutes' time.
Do it.
How dare you?
Priorities, man.
Think I might be a bit late.
It'll be
But if you're still broadcasting when I get back, do you want me to jump back on or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're about, mate. Yeah, if you can.
Okay.
Be
All right.
fantastic.
Well, thanks for having me. I would like to
Thank
discuss
you.
it all a little bit more because there's a lot of things to go into about the situation. Obviously, I haven't even touched on Vladimir Putin and what the hell is going through that man's head. But I don't know.
Steroids.
Yeah. But while I'm away, feel free to talk about, I don't know, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Olympics.
Well, since you brought it up, I mean, we might as well address it.
Okay, well, you guys do that.
We weren't going to do it, but...
Graham, the king of the transition.
I'll see you later. Adios, amigos.
Bye, Graham.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Oh, I'm big. I don't want to be big.
Sorry, Wayne. That's just the way things are.
All right, he's gone. Let's talk about him.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Fucking asshole.
What a
He needs
ridiculous
to
accent.
shave.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, yeah, he did fucking give aid to fucking Ukrainians, but his fucking internet connection was gopping. It was just terrible.
But what has he done for me lately?
Yeah.
What about me?
You know what? He's giving a. What if somebody in the UK needed a defibrillator? Now they don't have one.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's Graham's fault.
You ever thought
Over
about
having
that?
palpitations.
And he's dropping shit off 1,000 miles away. This is, you know what?
Shit.
So sick of him.
I'm done.
So I'm going to share my screen here
Wait,
for a second.
Oh.
This is from that website. Bear is a proper unit.
Yeah, look at the size of that geezer.
That dude is huge.
That's a big dude.
Yeah.
It's Hodor right there.
Poor Hodor. That was the saddest part of the entire fucking series. And then I had to see Hodor's penis, and I was like, I don't know about this show, man.
Whoa.
I got
some limits.
You know, there was some HBO exec to be like, yeah, you got to do that.
Or he would just like beg for it. He's like, come on, everyone else gets to get naked. I'm like, gotta show this thing.
Sorry, is this Game of Thrones talk?
Yeah.
I've watched 4 episodes.
Man, you live like 10 miles away from where they filmed it.
Yeah, seriously. They probably used your house at one point.
I know for sure they use Yartan's cabin for all the things with the wildlands.
I think if he pulls a certain scene at a certain time, you see Yartan in Dr. Emma's chicken coop.
Yeah. I used to have
the snowmobile on the tree.
How
did you think he got in there?
Well, the fucking electric fence kept fucking getting him, so we had to find another way. So we figured if he goes over. So we tried running and jumping, and that didn't work for the first 10 tries. So it was like, what goes faster than me?
So he's there, built up a nice snowbank.
Yeah, the motorcycle didn't work. He tried that first. He tried the motorcycle first. It just went into the ramp of snow.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You gotta have a wider surface.
Right. More surface area to displace the weight. So that's when he went for the snowmobile. But there was a tree because he got more grip than he was expecting. And the rest is, as they say, memed by tons of mice.
Hello.
You know I can still hear you, right?
Yeah, Tim. You know I can still hear you.
But listen, just because I said Yartan lives north of the wall.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's get into it. I do know that this is going to be a bit of a conflict, so I think that we're going to start with Wayne, your perspective on the whole Will Smith slapping Chris Rock thing.
Don't smack anyone. That's it. You don't smack people. At the end of the day, how many? Look at the shit that Ricky Gervais has said to people that are in that same room. Did anyone get up and slap him? No.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Okay.
I'm going to be.
But that's my starting point. So that's where I'm.
Ricky Gervais always heads upwards.
Okay.
Yeah, and his bunt of the joke is never, even when he made the Caitlyn Jenner joke, it was about female drivers. It wasn't about her having transitioned.
Okay.
So the bunt of the joke was female drivers, which is a legit is the oldest joke in the book.
But is there ever an excuse for violence on that front,
No,
on
no,
that
no.
stage?
I agree with you. I'm not the one who agrees with you. I just don't think that Ricky Gervais is a fair comparison because
No, no, no.
his
I was
jokes
just
are
making the roast comparison. That's the comparison I'm making.
his jokes are extremely well thought through. He
Mhm.
speaks from a script, even though it doesn't feel that way because he's really good at what he does. But he has written his jokes in the man. Chris Rock's joke, it was mediocre at best. I did not find it funny at all. It was just a bad joke. Do I think that he deserves to be hit because of it? No, of course not.
Mm.
If you're so thin-skinned that you can't handle the fact that somebody makes jokes about you at an award show, you might want to seek some counseling for your anger issues.
Yeah, well, he has famously had counselling, and has been quite open about it. There's this narrative that he's basically cucked by Jada, which I don't really buy into. I just think at the time he was because he laughed at the joke initially, then he's looked over at Jada and he's gone, "Oh no, she's not happy. I'm going to do something about this." But he's done it in the most ridiculous way. How like how easy would it be, especially an A-lister like him, to be like, "Okay, I've got you. I've got you. Wait till after the show. Then I'll pull you to one side and I'll be like, apologise to my missus. Do not go on that stage and take the mickey out of a medical condition that my missus has, and she's very self-conscious of it. That's the reason she shaves her hair." And then he could have got an apology, but done behind closed doors. And then the dynamic continues. You know, the Oscars, the roasting, and all that kind of thing. That's how I would have dealt with it.
Yes, of
I
course,
believe
but yes, but the joke, but of the joke wasn't her medical condition.
it kind of was.
It wasn't. It was
It was
GI
her.
Jane
It
joke.
was her hair. It
It
was
was
her hair.
it was her hairdo. The fact that she had a GI Jane cut.
Yeah, but the
It had
reason that
nothing.
she's got that is because of her medical condition.
But that wasn't a joke, though.
It's
Okay.
not funny.
It's still not funny,
And
but
there's,
that wasn't a joke.
but there's also the narrative about black women's hair and the fact that black women are often mocked about their hair by every single person that's not a black woman. You know,
and not talking about just like being a lot of black women are going bald now because it's a style thing, but also I mean, we've talked about things like the Crown Act, which
Just passed.
is based on discrimination based on your hair, and that is highly important because people can lose jobs because of just how their hair looks. It's the same with like the tattoos. Like you can lose jobs just by showing tattoos, or you can not get those jobs, or you can get, not get medical insurance based on having certain, certain things. So it's important that like I understand that is that the joke was wrong because black women should not be told how they should look.
yeah,
And they should not be discriminated based on that look.
Right.
unless some
Mikey,
unless
yeah, I think Mikey's got a different perspective on this.
First off, I'm glad the Crown Act passed because that actually happened to me where a supervisor wouldn't push for my climbing up the ladder until I cut my hair. And my hair wasn't as long as it is now. and I kept it in a bun, just like everybody else did. Just like every other person with long enough hair to make a bun, that's what they did with their hair. But yeah, he said he wouldn't back me unless I cut my hair. It's not professional. That's fucking discrimination. That's what that is. My hair has nothing to do with my ability to do the job.
Right.
So yeah, fuck that place. And fuck you, Tom.
Yeah.
No.
But
yeah, Tom's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I agree. All Toms are assholes.
Never a Tom I liked.
The Tims I can deal with, the Toms I can't.
The Tims and the Toms, they're like the red versus blue of life.
Yep. I'll take the red pill, please.
I'm actually the opposite. The Toms in my life are really good, but the Tims are horrible people.
He can hear you, Brenna.
Not you, Tim. You're an exception.
Yeah, I know. It's all the other Tims that are fucking it up. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Tim, you're one of the good ones. You're our token Tim.
I have a Tim. Token Tim. I was like, I have a Tim.
He's our Uncle Tim.
Don't be calling him Uncle Tim. Tim, are you an uncle?
Yes.
Oh shit, he is Uncle Tim.
And he's got a van.
We got him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I don't have a van. It's a truck.
He's got a bread truck.
What's the difference?
He can fit more kids in it.
Probably.
That's why it's grilled cheese. That's what the children.
The cheese is made out of children.
What's that film from the 80s? Is it Soylent Green?
Soylent Green.
This book.
Jesus, people.
This book. It's a cookbook. to serve cheese.
We're derailed again. All right, so
people need to get smacked sometimes, and I'm okay with people getting smacked sometimes. He didn't kill him. He didn't break his face. He slapped him. It happens. People get slapped a lot. Like I used to DJ. People get slapped all the time. People get punched all the time. And they're like, oh, well, if I would have done it, then I would have been in handcuffs. It's like, or not. Because that also happens where people just get punched sometimes because they're being an asshole. And they get separated and then they say, hey, you're being a cunt. You're being a cunt. Sort it out. And then that happens. It sucks that it had to be on stage. But I didn't see anybody turning any cameras away. I didn't see anybody, averting their eyes. No, it's spectacle. That is Hollywood. And there's a lot worse things in Hollywood going on that are way more abusive, that are way more fucked up than someone slapping somebody. And those two have known each other from what I've heard. I can't 100% verify it. That he ran the joke by him, and he said, nah. And then he told the joke anyway.
Is that recorded fact, or is that just
this is what I'm hearing on Twitter? But I'm looking through Twitter right now trying to find more shit. But it's a cesspool in here.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a nightmare.
I don't buy all that. Yeah.
So
Twitter is a rabbit hole. No, but what I'm very concerned about is that Will Smith is an icon and an idol to a lot of people around the world. And this opens the door for people at comedy shows to do a Will Smith if they don't like the joke or they feel offended.
But that's always been a risk. That's always been a risk. That's always been a risk.
Yeah, that for stand-up comedians, that is always, because you're not always at a 1,000-seat venue.
Yeah, you're not always in a
front. Is done in like a small club where you're right in the audience.
Right.
Yep.
People go up on stage and punch up comedians frequently. It is not rare. The problem is, you don't hear about it because it's fucking normal place. Like people fight, and whenever there's alcohol and people, they fight every time. It is unavoidable.
This is true.
And and that's the comedy club kind of vibe, right? People people heckle and people threaten and people do all kinds of shit at comedy clubs. Like, it's not uncommon for shit like this to happen. The fact that it happened because Chris Rock decided to verbally assault before he got assaulted. Like we keep saying all this stuff is comedy, it's comedy. Where's the line gonna be for this comedy shit where we just let people get away with fucking attacking people? Because if that's the case, then I'm pretty sure Bill O'Reilly thinks he's a fucking comedian. You know what I mean? And these fucking shitty racist motherfuckers think that they're fucking comedians. And is that where? So as long as they say, "But that was a joke," see how funny it is when I insult black people? That's hilarious to me. Laugh along, won't you? Oh, well, they're a comedian, so it's all good. No, fuck that.
I can tell you for now, Kerry buys pantomime tickets, like, on purpose, the front row in either side of the aisle, because she knows that every year someone in the front row gets picked on in the end, in one of the end seats. So she buys them specifically for me to get dug out, so she can sit there and point and laugh. Right, and I'm sitting there. Oh, there we go.
But what's wrong with us that's funny to us? like it's one thing. Like, oh yeah, that went great, just like your last movie. Okay, it's a tame joke. That's a joke. And this whole notion that Chris Rock had no knowledge of her having alopecia. How the fuck did I know and you didn't know? When you literally in 2009 put out a fucking movie called Good Hair, talking about black women and their relationships with their hair and the fucking shit that they have to face in this fucking country. You literally made a movie about it. And then you did it on the biggest stage possible, and you wonder why, and everyone's wondering why Will Smith was fucking triggered. He normally doesn't act like that. Except for that time that fucking reporter or paparazzi guy tried to kiss him, and that guy got touched up. No police were called, nothing happened. And as far as I'm concerned with this whole like assault thing, assault is assault, but there needs to be an injured party and a grieving party and a party looking for recompense. If Chris Rock says don't call the police, then you don't call the police. Hitting is illegal if someone doesn't want it or if someone reports it. But if me and a dude get in a dust up and we're at a bar and they just say get the fuck out of here and they don't call the cops, it still happened.
It's done.
There was still a fight, but we didn't get the cops involved.
Well, and there also is a difference. Like you were talking about earlier, how Ricky Gervais did a joke, and it was meant generally towards female drivers. What was the audience for Chris Rock's joke? Who was he trying to get laughed there besides himself? Right. Like, was it a very mean-spirited comment? That even if Will Smith didn't tell him no before, it's not something you go out on a national stage and say just offhandedly, off script. It was a joke for himself, and that's it. There was no broader audience for that.
Right. It was just an attack.
Yeah, he wasn't. He's not doing insult comedy for an audience that is used to that.
Right.
So yeah, no, I am not defending the joke. If anybody perceives that I am defending the joke in any sort of way, I am not. I thought it was a bad joke, and I thought it was bad timing. And I think that Chris Rock, as he said it, realized it. His entire body language was like, yeah, that did not go over well.
Yeah, my cheek says it didn't go over well.
Yeah, what he says, he's like, it's okay. That wasn't even that bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you have to say that, then you've triggered somebody. You've done it. I mean, I guess on accident. But that's his moment to say, you know what? Hey, my fault. Too far.
He wasn't doing comedy. He wasn't doing crowd work at a comedy club. He was doing, it was just a bad joke with a mean spirit at the Oscars.
I agree. He still shouldn't be hit for it.
I think his comments afterwards should have been his assault when he said, "Get my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." That should have been it. And the impact that had in that silent crowd. He wasn't even mic'd up, and you could hear that echo and that reverberation. That would have been more impactful than the fact that he slapped him, in my opinion, to Chris Rock.
I am okay. To be clear, again, I think that we all agree that was a bad joke. What we're talking about is hitting a comedian because you feel offended by his joke.
Mm-hmm.
That is a greater question that I think that we should address, not the fact that comedians make bad jokes sometimes, and this obviously was one of those times. Or if
And
Chris
the
Rock-
Oscars are full of these types of jokes. Like, they are bad. They get the groans because usually this is not an audience that paid to see you.
Right.
And so people are going to get offended or get groaned at or get eye rolls. And first off, Jada's reaction, her face was more than enough for me. Like, that hurt. And she was hurting after that one. She didn't need anybody to defend her. If we just looked at her face, that would not be enough.
Yeah.
I don't what this did for me, like, I'm traumatized by this because I don't think anybody should be getting hit because of a bad joke. Because somebody did that to me. And I don't think that anybody deserves to have their face contact with a hand, regardless of if it was open palm or a fist. By the way, that man is gigantic and strong. A slap is a punch. It's just the difference between this and this.
Yeah.
The fact that Chris Rock, I mean, he deserves a little bit of credit because he could have been shouting at him and swearing at him and calling the security on him for getting hit like that. The fact that he didn't is actually pretty remarkable. But nobody on the planet, especially in broad fucking daylight, deserves to be hit because of a stupid joke. So I'm saying this is traumatizing to me. And to have a man go up afterwards, accept an award, and a great award for accomplishments, and say, oh, I did it to protect my family. Oh, I did it out of love because I want to show love, is so abusive. That's what abusive people do. They make excuses about hurting other people, whether it is physically, whether it is emotionally, whether it is socially. You do not go up and say, I did it to protect my family because I love them, and I did it out of love, and somebody got hurt. So no, this is not something that is just a little joke that went out of hand and somebody got hit. This is more than that. This is trauma. This is trauma coming back. Nobody on the planet deserves to be hit because of a bad joke. And then be told afterwards that it was out of love.
Totally agree.
This is why I this is very, very difficult for me. Because if you've ever been hit because of a bad joke, you know how that feels. Sorry, guys. It's just.
No, Brenna, you take your time, darling. No, mate.
I don't think this is a good thing. I don't think that this is fine and dandy. This was a grown-ass man hitting a grown-ass man from a joke and saying, this is fine. I did it because I did for my family. Her look was more than enough for me, and that hit me hard. And that was fine. I said, yeah, that is a bad joke, and she was hurt by it. I didn't need some bitch man going up and slapping another person and saying it was out of love. I don't need that. I don't need that shit. I don't need somebody thinking that they're protecting me.
Okay, Mikey, any way that we can take 2 minutes?
Yeah. And we're back.
Are back.
Okay.
Not according to my iPad.
It takes a second.
You gotta the tubes. It takes a while for the internet to get through the tubes.
All the tubes.
Oh,
there's a lot of junctions.
I can't believe I've got the best
my
internet
camera's going to
today.
turn off any second now. It's
Do you want to
difficult
quickly whip it, do the thing that you need to do?
No, but there's only 10 minutes on this battery as well, because this is the one that I took with me to Ukraine.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you went to Ukraine. You kept that quiet.
Well, I went to the border of Ukraine. But I've got a friend who needs to drop some supplies off in Lviv, so I might be going back with him next week. And in that case, I won't be crossing the border, but he might.
Is that your cup of tea being delivered?
How did you know?
Because you used the Mr. Tumble. Thank you.
It's sign. That's how you sign for. Thank you.
I know.
Okay.
I learned that from Mr. Tumble. Friend.
Do you know? Yeah. Do you know the sign for Liverpool?
Yeah.
Terrible. No, it's that, and it's funny because that's also the sign for lesbian. You gotta be careful. Yeah.
That's the thing. Because I know in sign language, there's a lot of things that there are no actual signs for, and you have to spell out, and you have to do it with your fingers and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of crossover, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that double up. Like this is London, but it's also noisy. It doesn't mean crazy; it means noisy.
My head is noisy.
I know. Thank you.
My favourite is snail.
Friend.
Snail. That's toilet.
And funny.
That's
right. I'm watching kids' TV and learning sign language.
I wish I knew Winker.
That's a different sign language.
Yeah, is there British and American Sign Language? Right?
That actually came up on Mystery Hour a couple of weeks ago.
There's also Guatemalan Sign Language.
How many different sign languages are there?
There's probably quite a few, but the Guatemalan one's the most interesting one because it was invented by Guatemalan deaf children as a way to communicate with each other, and they were never taught it by anybody. They just came up with it themselves,
and it just became their universal language.
And it's now become the national sign language of Guatemala. Wow. The American signs are different to the British ones in that a lot of British ones are two-handed. You need both hands, even for finger spelling. So that's your vowels. That's A, E, I, O, U. Mm-hmm. But in America, a lot of the words you can do with one hand. And the reason for that is American Sign Language developed in the wake of, I think, World War II, and a lot of service men were coming back with one arm, basically. So they had to have a way of signing if you didn't have both limbs. Because the reason why they were deaf is they've been blown
shell
up.
shock.
Blown up with a shell. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. So, how did you learn sign language? Was it because you and your missus, or was it something that
we just got a book and we just want to find out what the word is for something? We just look it up. Because Catherine's not fluent in it because she's always she's always done lip reading.
Yeah.
But when it's funny now. I've been going out with her now for 4.5 years.
Going out with her. How 90s.
I know that if I'm
been dating,
if she can't see me, if she can't see my lips, she can't hear what I'm saying. She can't understand what I'm saying. And I do this for other people now. So if anyone ever looks away while I'm talking to them, I stop talking. So if you want me to shut up, if you're bored, just turn your back on me. But don't do that to an Italian person because it's incredibly rude and you'll be in so much trouble.
This is all you need to sign in Italian.
Capiche? This is all you need to sign in French.
No, it's more like that.
How should I know?
I'm not doing it.
The Gallic shrug.
Right, should we get back into your Ukrainian Poland trip that you're going to embark on coming up?
Well, I haven't got the details together of that yet. But for the first trip, I mean, I thought we might just do one, but we've taken so much money that we really do have to do more than one because we have to get this money out to the people of Ukraine one way or another. The best way to do that is to actually go there and make sure the money is given in equipment and aid to the people on the border who are helping the refugees coming through. I can't do anything to, fight Putin personally. I can't kill him myself, but this is something that I can do to fuck up his horrible plans for Ukraine. Like I said, I mean, the stories out of Ukraine. I read one today about a couple of old ladies. One was 79, the other was 96, and they were in Mariupol, and the house that they were sheltering under got blown up, and they had to dig themselves out of the rubble, and then they had to make their way out because there's nowhere else to go. They waited for a bus, and the bus was full, but two other people gave up their seats so they could get on board. And they travelled for something like 10 days, I think, to get to the border. And when they got to the border, the wheelchair that we had taken to the border earlier this week was given to the old lady who was the 96-year-old.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And she didn't want it. She was too proud. She was just like, no, I've walked here. I can keep walking, And they managed to convince her to take the damn thing, take the wheelchair. I think they said she'd be more likely to get assistance if she's in a wheelchair than if she isn't. So she thought, okay, then I'll do it. But they're very proud people, and they're very stoic, and they're very appreciative of all the efforts that are being made all over the world, because they know, that their fight isn't in vain. I can't say the same thing about the Russians. I've got Russian friends, and they just keep writing to me, everyone hates us, and God, what is going on? I mean, I've got Russian friends who are intelligent and know what's happening.
Yeah.
But a lot of Russians, including Russians in this country, who believe that it's all made up. They believe all the Kremlin propaganda. And it's like, I mean, seriously? Do you think all these Ukrainians are faking footage on their phones and uploading it to TikTok?
Obviously. They got filters on there.
It's all Tucker Carlson. He's not exactly doing a stand-up job to...
Well, Tucker Carlson is an idiot. He's always been an idiot.
Oh, yeah. Who's the heir to? Is it the Walmart?
No,
fortune?
it's oh man, he is the heir to. Oh man, I want to say it's some sort of like, like a ketchup or something like that. I forget exactly what it is.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. I can't think either. Mikey, you're on the Googles.
I think it's some sort of condiment.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What is Tucker Carlson the heir to? He's like some kind
Swanson.
of
Wife. It's Swanson. There we go.
Swanson.
The broth.
Yeah. So basically,
the broth features.
He's not done a day's graft in his life, and yet he's allowed to go on the telly because he's got a bit of money.
He's rich.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Let's find out what rich people think about everything. That's basically our television industry.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a TV writer. That was his out of college. That was what he wanted to do.
Yeah, because back in the day, he used to rock a bow tie, didn't he?
Yeah, because again, he's an idiot.
Gimmick.
But he got fired from every major news network until he landed at Fox News.
Oh, that's strange, that.
He was on CNN, he was on MSNBC for a while, and then he landed at Fox News.
He's in my
He's in my latest video. He features. See if you can spot him. Mikey, do you want to? Can you play that video on YouTube that I've just sent you? Can you cue that up?
Yep.
Just take it over here.
Look at Graham. We invite him on. He starts producing.
Mikey's like, what the fuck is this?
Just don't give us a copyright strike.
I'm sure it's fine.
Wouldn't that be it, right? Graham says, "Hey, play this video for me." Boom, gotcha, bitch.
Potter's Puppet Pals, because otherwise this isn't going to make any sense whatsoever. But whatever.
No.
What's that mysterious ticking noise? Not over here? Not over there? Kinda catchy. Trump, Trump, Donald J. Trump, Trump, Trump.
Oh God.
Donald J. Trump.
Putin whore.
Trump, Trump. Donald J. Trump.
Putin whore.
Trump, Trump, Donald J. Trump.
Putin whore.
Trump, Trump, Donald J.
Trump. Putin whore.
Trump, hammered up. Donald J.
Trump. Putin whore.
Trump, hammered up. Donald J.
Putin whore.
Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage.
Putin whore.
Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. That's me.
Putin whore. Putin whores.
Hammered up.
Putin whores.
I'm Nigel Farage. I'm Nigel Farage.
Putin whores.
I'm Nigel Farage.
What's he got on his back? A squash?
Singing our song all day long with Rats. Hey everyone, I found the source of the ticking. It's the doomsday clock. Yeah. Vlad the mad, ooh lad, Vlad the mad.
Horrifying.
Well, that's gonna be my night terrors tonight.
That is straight up nightmare fuel.
Can never unsee that.
That is a proper sort of like nightmarish kind of thing.
Just bouncing around singing their own names. It's terrifying.
This is the sound of someone with too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Glad you enjoyed that.
There are some things you can't unsee.
Yeah, that just
Yeah,
happened.
like Ryback.
What? So yeah, I was just going to talk a little bit about Russia and the fact that the infiltration of British society by Russia has just been absolutely staggering, and the way they've done it has been so blatant and so obvious to everybody who had their eyes open. And in America, the same thing. The Mueller report specifically said there was some Russian interference in this. We know there was.
Well, there was they had even a Russian operative going to conservative conventions.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, what's weird is the kind of person who normally goes in for these daft conspiracy theories about Princess Diana being assassinated. I mean, newsflash, if you're going to assassinate a princess, just push her off the fucking yacht, all right? Take her out on a fishing trip, right? Or whatever princesses do, on a yacht. And then when you're miles out to sea, push her off the yacht. There's no way back onto the yacht.
Maxwell.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way back on the yacht unless you put a ladder out, and that's it. You say she fell overboard. You don't like get a load of paparazzi photographers to follow her and take pictures of everything that happened. Anyway, the type of person who believes that kind of crap are the Trump supporters, they're the Brexit supporters, they're the supporters of Marine Le Pen in France, and yet this is the kind of conspiracy that I'm sure they would like, but they just don't seem to like it at all. They don't believe it. They don't think that it's actually happening.
there seems to be this sort of libertarian mindset that's kind of been emboldened in Western culture. This "you can't tell me what to do" kind of thing, and it becomes more and more prevalent when the powers that be are trying to say, "No, this is what's best for you. You know, you voted us in. This is what's best for you." If you are, like, say, for instance, like a Labour supporter or a Democrat, the people on the opposing side are like, "Oh, they're just trying to rule your life. They're trying to rule your life." But you go with everything that the people on the right say, and you don't see that you're being manipulated in the way that you're kind of opposing. I don't get it. I don't get how you can be a libertarian but do as you're told on certain elements of life, and then oppose government control on other things, like, you know, just take
cognitive dissonance.
Yes,
Well,
that's what I was basically trying to say in a roundabout way.
As far as American politics go with that, I mean, America has always been that way. Always. They've always been leave us alone. That, I mean, we fought 2 wars with your country over that shit. So, you know, but there is a certain amount of lies that conservatives tell themselves in America. One of them is small government.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is that, you know, the federal government should be smaller. But no president since, I don't know, the Great Depression has reduced the size of government in America. Every single conservative president since the Depression has increased the size of government, increased the reach of the executive branch,
Yep.
and every time they say we want smaller government, it's a lie.
Well,
They don't want smaller government. They want bigger government.
The people who say they want smaller government also want the government to go into your bedroom and tell you that you're doing it wrong.
And they want a bigger military.
They want to go into your uterus and say, "No, sorry, this is the property of the US government. You're not allowed to, you know, I don't know, not give birth to something that is going to tear you in two on the way out that you don't even want."
I would say there are very few actual libertarians, at least in the conservative right in America. Like, libertarianism is not conservatism, and I think a lot of people get that confused.
No, but the thing is, a lot of conservatives would fall in line with libertarian ideals.
Not in today's America.
No.
No?
No. Libertarianism is about non-government interference and a very small military, and basically the government's only job is to make sure that the lights run, and that's it. Like, the government's only job is to make sure that you don't interfere with someone else's life and they don't interfere with your life, and that the basic necessities are met. But besides that, they don't have any say in anything.
Because I remember when we had early on in the BIM podcast, we had what was his name, Mikey? Was it Chris?
Sure.
That guy, the libertarian who said we don't need a fire department.
Yeah, I
we
mean,
don't need police.
If you're talking about like absolute libertarianism, yeah, they don't need a fire department, they don't need police, they don't need emergency medical services because they can all handle it themselves.
Or they'll just pay. Crazy. They'll just pay.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely bonkers, isn't it? They believe that they came into this world and no one gave them anything. Like no one gave them
no one built the hospital for them that they were born in.
No one built the school that they went to. No one paid the teachers to teach the little fuckers.
Yeah.
No one built the road that they traveled to get to school.
His idea about roads, because that was like the obvious first question. Like, well, all right, who's
the funniest one?
I'm like, who's maintaining roads? Like, well, we could open it up to the private sector. I'm like, and who regulates the fucking bridges, mate? Who's doing the big fucking things on the highway that go over the other parts of the highway? Like, well, I mean, the company would have to do a good job, because if they didn't, then people would know. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna know when there's a fucking school bus going over this shitty bridge you built. Like, what are you talking about?
See that was, I always remember that episode because you told me, Mikey specifically, Wayne, don't get emotional, and I was very analytical and very like logical, And then Zlatan came in and went, fuck this guy. You was expecting me to be the one to kick off.
Who cleans the sewers? Who cleans the sewers?
Who maintains the
electrical
grid?
Private sector is going to take care of all. They're going to take care of all of it, and they're going to be super reliable, and they're going to do it for cheaper than what the government would do.
And with
because there's bidding wars,
be perfect.
And there's never going to be a mess up. No, they'll just have to do a good job if they want more jobs.
See, there's always a part about libertarianism where if you take it to its logical conclusion, it's absurd.
It's ridiculous.
Yes. Whereas democracy is the other way. You take democracy to its conclusion, then everyone gets a say, which isn't absurd. It's actually the best way to do it because you get better ideas that way and you get more consensus on what's to be done. Whereas the libertarian ideal, I mean, they can't even agree amongst themselves what they want. Imagine them building a society. Imagine building a village. It would last 5 seconds.
Graham, that's where you get the term cowboy builders from, though. Because they did whatever. They were moving out west. They built ramshackle settlements. There was no code. There was no regulations. So shit fell down. And that's where the term cowboy builder came from.
They all lived to about the age of 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, I mean, that would be a good TV show, actually, wouldn't it? Libertarianville. Had a bunch of rich, preppy little tats who all reckon that they're libertarians, and put them in like a village to live together.
Yeah.
And see how long it takes before they start killing each other. That'd be boss.
And Tucker Carlson can host it.
Tucker Carlson can fucking die. The guy is a fucking Russian. You know what? If I bring back fucking the McCarthy fucking witch hunts, bring them back. You know, keep him open. I'm sure he's all red inside.
The views of Graham Hughes are the views of Graham Hughes, and not the views of the Bin Podcast.
We the Bin Podcast don't condone McCarthyism.
The guy's a menace. He's defending Putin like some kind of little sad little fangirl. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
He's a fangirl.
Grown man fawning over another grown man when they're not actual lovers.
And making excuses. Just making excuses. Oh, should we be doing this? Should we be doing that? Shut the fuck up, mate. The guy's just bombing a country that has got nothing to do with him.
Yeah. Well, it's all NATO's fault because NATO were being mean by allowing other countries to join NATO. NATO's not imperialist. To join NATO, you have to apply. You have to have a fucking referendum. It's not like they just turn up in a load of tanks and bomb the shit out of everyone and install a puppet ruler. I love this disclaimer at the bottom here.
all that NATO nonsense that Putin was complaining about is bullshit because we were talking about it on our show last night. The Helsinki Accords, Russia signed on to.
Yeah.
So Russia agreed that there would be a peace, and that no country had the right to start a war, and they would all be economically connected, and everything would be fine. NATO came later after that agreement.
And what also were the agreements, Graham, you'll know, is it the Minsk agreements?
It's the Budapest agreements, which
Budapest, where
Russia and the US will not invade Ukraine. It will be
about the nuclear weapons. About the nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that was the Budapest one. The
Budapest
agreement said that Ukraine would get rid of all of its nuclear weapons. It would unilaterally disarm all of its nuclear weapons. One of the few countries in the world to ever do that. And in return, it was guaranteed its sovereignty by Russia and by the US. And if Putin's going to say, "Oh, you didn't keep this oral agreement to this dead guy in the 90s." All right, okay, and that's why Putin violated the actual written down agreement, which was the Budapest agreement, and he did that in 2014 when he invaded
Crimea,
and he invaded Donbass as well.
Yeah,
he's been fighting there ever since, and the guy's a menace. I was in Georgia in 2010. Spent a few days in Tbilisi, the capital, and I met a lot of Georgians, and they fucking hated the Russians because the Russians 2 years earlier come in and taken a third of their country, annexed it, and the international community went, "Oh well, never mind." In a way that if an African country did that, if an African country pulled that shit, invaded another African country, it's most of the wars in Africa were not about territory because that was kind of set in stone. For the international territories, they were usually civil wars. Unfortunately, kill more people in the long run.
Yeah.
But if I tell you this now, if a country in Africa, if Gabon decided to go and invade Equatorial Guinea, the international community would be up in arms. How dare you? Look at how we reacted when Iraq invaded Kuwait. Within a week, we were like, right, that's it. We're war. We're war. Stop. Get out that country. Get out that fucking country. And what have we done with Ukraine? First of all, we'll let Putin take the Crimea. We let him take a chunk of Donbass, and we let him do that with Georgia as well. We don't even mention the fact that Chechnya was a republic for a little while in the 90s until, I don't know, they flattened Grozny, like literally flattened the place. The interference in Syria as well. People talk about, oh, well, he's doing this war, but then we did Iraq. So, it all balances out, doesn't it? Or something. And you're like, no, two wrongs don't make a right.
Do you think this is Putin's long game? He's kind of testing the water to see how far we'll go, but he will not touch a NATO country, and we in turn will not go in at him because of the two nuclear deterrents. Does that make sense?
I don't know if his nuclear bombs even fucking work. If he's in his army,
they're all Soviet. They're all Soviet era weapons. He doesn't know if they work.
There's guys there striking matches, lighting their fags off them. Missile, yes. Been here for 30 years.
I don't think Putin's testing waters anymore. I think he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants.
I think he's just I think he's trying to freestyle it.
Yeah.
I think he's on a. I think he knows he's coming to the end of his little game, and he's just doing what the fuck he likes.
I also think he's got George Lucas syndrome in that he's surrounded himself by people who go, "You're amazing. Everything you do is amazing." And what happens when you surround yourself with yes men? You end up with Star Wars Episode 1 or the invasion of Ukraine.
You end up with the Bin podcast, the most wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Well, if you look at the way his military has done this invasion, right? It's been a goddamn disaster for the Russian military. It's proven that their logistical strategy was flawed. The amount of time they thought it would take to capture the Ukraine is completely it was absurd. They thought they were going to take it in 3 days. They thought they would be in Kiev in 3 days. That's all the supplies they had. And when they weren't in Kiev in 3 days, they were fucked.
We've all seen them videos of like the tanks like slowly rolling down the streets, and then the guys with anti-tank missiles just walking down the road, blowing them up.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, and this is another thing we explained on Speaking from the Center, was that the Russian logistical strategy is different than like a Western logistical strategy. They have what's known as a push logistical strategy, where they give units a certain amount of supplies for a certain amount of days they think is going to take to complete their operation. And then they go. And if it takes longer, they're really kind of screwed. Where we have a pull logistical operation where units take a supply train with them, and that supply train can get compromised, but at least they will have supplies for whatever the foreseeable goal is. And the Russians miscalculated how long it was going to take by 3 weeks or a month.
Putin's surrounded by incompetent people because he's scared of competence.
They're all yes men, and unfortunately Boris Johnson is
incompetent yes men.
Yeah,
incompetent yes men.
Yeah,
and they're always the rich. Have you noticed how all these fuckers are all rich?
How does that work?
Tobias Elwood came out today, didn't he, and said that the Russian higher-ups are too scared to say anything to Putin about how badly the operation is going because they're scared that they're going to have a nice little cup of polonium tea. They're going to have a little bit of a Novichok on their door. So how do you deal with something or someone like that? See, like little Kim Jong what's his chops over there, he's leave him alone. He's just sitting there. He's a spoiled brat playing with his toys. let him alone. But Putin.
Well, he is developing nuclear weapons, so
and intercontinental ballistic missiles. So let's not leave him alone that long.
Yeah.
No,
and then all those poor North Koreans that are stuck there starving.
No, but what I'm saying is leave him alone in the sense of like he's not having these sort of conquests like Putin is.
Not yet.
He really very much would like Japan not to be a part of the world anymore. That's what he wants. He wants to obliterate Japan.
And he would quite like South Korea to be part of North Korea.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Japan's technology they've probably hacked North Korea anyway.
They don't have internet, Wayne. That's their one strength.
Damn it!
I'll tell you the law of unintended consequences. As a direct result of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, Germany is now geared up to have the third biggest military in the world after the US and China, and therefore the biggest military in Europe for the first time since the Second World War is going to be German.
Yeah, Germany ain't gonna fuck about. Germany have like basically looked at their history, got rid of everything to do with Nazism, and said we're never doing that again. But the only problem with that is that they might go the other way. Do you know what I mean? You know when you sort of like counterbalance too far, and they get a little bit.
I don't think they're gonna be Europe's America.
That's definitely not. The fact is that the shift of power, both hard power and soft power, in the last, well, not just in the last couple of months, but in the last few years, has been absolutely seismic. And Britain's place in the world has become painfully diminished. And look, you know, the people who think that the empire was a good idea are fucking idiots. Don't get me wrong, but as things stood, Britain did have its fingers in a lot of pies. It wasn't just part of the EU; it was part of the Commonwealth as well.
Yep.
So all in all, that's nearly half the countries of the world, Europe and the Commonwealth, and it did help out to some extent. It didn't help refugees, of course, because we're scumbags, but the British consul was doing a lot of good work around the world. You know, that kind of soft power, you know, not just trying to provide aid and things like that. We've cut our overseas aid. We've cut the funding to the British consul. We have just alienated ourselves against all of our former allies in Europe. And the one thing that makes me laugh is when people talk about the EU as if it's this evil thing and all the people in it are our foes, when there's only 30 members of NATO and 20 of them are in the freaking EU. It's like...
So they're like hand in glove.
Yeah. As our allies, they're sworn that if we get invaded by, I don't know, say Russia, they will come and assist us. They will declare war on whoever's declared war on us. But they're out to get us, Wayne.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, protect our borders. Oh, but you
protect
can come
our borders from the newborn Russian spies from Ukraine.
I mean, you could have the Irish fight the Russian Navy.
They're
pretty good at that.
They'll be too drunk.
No, did you hear the story about the Irish fishermen who told the Russian Navy to go fuck themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself, are you? Just throwing bottles at them. Fuck off.
But
surprise me.
Catastrophic. Tim's right. The catastrophic miscalculation by Putin. Fingers crossed. This is the end of him. But it's just how long it takes. This war could drag on for months. It could drag on for years. He's got the manpower. He's got the weapons.
Yeah, but also you say that, Graham. He's relying on conscripts, and they're reportedly turning on their generals, refusing to take orders, that kind of thing. That goes in our favour.
It doesn't matter.
Chaos.
He's got such a big population, 144 million Russians. He's the richest. Putin is the richest man in the world. Fuck this whole thing about Elon Musk and Bezos. They're fucking they're minnows compared to what the vast wealth that Putin has accumulated over the last
Where are
22
them
years.
two cunts in this fucking conflict? Surely he could fly one of these penis-shaped missiles and just drop it on the Kremlin.
We need to start calling them oligarchs.
They are oligarchs.
We need to start calling it. But yeah, I mean, if I was Elon Musk or if I was Jeff Bezos, I'd fucking kill myself. But if it wasn't going to do that, I would set up an escrow. I don't know why no one's done this yet. Set up an escrow, and it's legally obliged to give whatever people give to that escrow. Get the disclaimer again. To the person who takes Putin out, and I don't mean for dinner. So it goes to the person or the family that does that, and if nobody does it, the money goes back to the people who donated. And you can have a website with how much has been donated. And I'll tell you now, you would take billions. People all over the world would throw money into that. And someone who's a cleaner or a cook or a chauffeur of Vladimir Putin's would be like, what? It's up to $50 billion to just, I don't know, make him have a little accident. I'll have that.
Mm-hmm. Terms of service.
Sorry, I mean, if this was World War II and I was sitting here going, I really think we should kill Hitler, you wouldn't be going, oh God, don't say that. We might get taken off air.
No, but unfortunately, we live in a capitalist world and we're on a capitalist platform, so we have to abide by the capitalist rules.
If you want to talk about killing Hitler, go ahead.
Do we really have a right to kill Hitler? Do we really?
Well, we can't libel him, so we're all right.
Well, that's what they say. They say don't speak ill of the dead, and I'm like, why not? They can't sue you for libel.
It's very true. And plus, if you say you can't speak ill of the dead, that means you must have some respect for that dead person.
Yeah.
No, you're all right. Definitely not.
There's a song by the Australian comedy troupe called the Chaser called "Everyone's a Top Bloke When They're Dead." It's really funny, and it's about these fucking arseholes. But then once they die, everyone's like, "Oh my God, they were amazing," and that happens a lot.
Oh, definitely. No, he was such a kind man. He was such a kind man. He fiddled me.
But like the way that in the UK the media turned on a sixpence when Princess Diana died, like they were going in.
Sorry, Graham, quick. A sixpence was a small coin back in the 60s. Okay.
Good.
It just means to turn around.
I heard their song.
That's sixpence none the richer, you prick.
I thought it was just abbreviating it.
Oh, don't you get that song stuck in my head? Oh no, don't! Oh, you've already done it. That's my earworm.
Under the TV twilight.
No. Anyway, just the way that the media changed from demonizing this poor woman to like instantly beatifying her and going, "Oh my God, she's the most wonderful woman who ever lived. She's the queen of our hearts." I was like, "That's not what you were saying last week. Last week you were calling her a slut on the front page of your fucking newspaper."
Look at her on a boat with a Muslim.
Yeah. And then bloody Trump wanted to meet up with Prince William after Trump had said on the Howard Stern show that he'd like to, what was the term he used? To basically, he reckons he could have shagged Princess Diana. Because she's a bit of a goer, wasn't she?
Trump is just the worst.
Can we just not make that Graham's background?
Yes.
He does have a green sofa. I could do that. I could change the words behind him. Let me grab your link, Graham, so if everyone isn't following you, they can start doing so.
I don't think they're going to after this. KGB will be on their ass.
They don't have a choice. I have to declare it.
But yeah, if the outpouring of sympathy and support for the people of Ukraine has been fantastic. That has been the one thing, and the more I think about it, the more it's like it's the government, the institutions that are dragging the heels, that are not doing what needs to be done, and it's people power more than anything else. Let's make sure that people from Ukraine have got somewhere to go, someone to take them to where they need to go, giving them shelter, giving them food, and yeah, I mean, I hope something good can come out of this horrific experience. If only for the psyche of the nation of the UK, that they go, actually, these refugees aren't bad people. They're just like me and you, fleeing war. When I was traveling through Sudan and Egypt and Turkey back in 2012, there were a lot of Syrian refugees on the different forms of transport I was taking. And I got talking to a lot of them, and they were accountants and school teachers and architects. And there's a guy who worked on the radio station in Aleppo, and they're just like normal people with a normal job. And we've got this idea in our stupid heads in this country that all these refugees, they're all goat herders. They're all illiterate. You couldn't be further from the truth. The well-paid professionals who had a car and a home and a TV and a garden, and then some fucker came along and blew it all up. And now they're going to spend the rest of their days roaming around from country to country until the horrible person that's done that to their country is dead.
Oh.
Yeah. No, to your point, my great granddad was a white farmer in Zimbabwe who had a massive farm, had it ripped away from him, and ended up living in a 9th floor flat in Luton. He married a Zimbabwean girl with that had 2 kids prior to that, and yeah, no one gave a monkey's in. And
when was that under Mugabe in the late 90s?
Yes. Yeah.
Fucking Mugabe, what a fucking monster. I always thought he had like a hair lip or something. I didn't realize it was a moustache until he died.
No, he was literally modelling himself on a certain Adolf.
Well, the people that I met, and you know what I just said about waiting for one person to die so you can go home.
Mm-hmm.
That's what someone said to me when I was in Johannesburg. I was in a pub waiting for my mates to turn up, and I got chatting with a guy, and I asked him where he was from. He said Zimbabwe, and I said, "How long have you been in South Africa?" He said, "I've been here 10 years now. I'm just waiting for Mugabe to die so I can go home." And he said, "There's millions like me in Malawi, in Botswana, in Namibia, in Mozambique, in Zambia, waiting for this one guy to freaking die so they can just go back to their life that they had." And that's too much power. That's too much power for one human being to have over billions.
But no one gives a monkeys about that particular region of the world, though, do they? That's the problem.
But I think the main thing, whatever form of democracy that you have, whether it's presidential, whether it's a crazy kind of constitutional monarchical version or a referendum-led version, I think the important thing is that no fucker should be in charge for more than a few years.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Even the good ones, I don't think Angela Merkel should have been Chancellor of Germany for like 2 decades. I think it's just too long.
No, but to your point, could we have hereditary peerages? I think that's got to go.
It's got to go.
That's got to go.
Well, anyway, lifetime peers, fuck that as well. I don't like the idea of not being able to get rid of people if they're shit at their job. Imagine if someone said to you, "Wayne, can you fly? Can you fly a plane?
Mm-hmm.
Can you fly?" I'm asking.
No.
Okay, so if I made you a pilot and said, "Here you go, here's your license to fly, and it's valid for the rest of your life," would that not be a bit mad?
I'll give it a go.
Can you let me know which flights you'll be piloting? Can you make sure that it's you that does the little announcement before wheels get up? Because I need to make sure.
Imagine that. We're at Chicago Airport. Mikey walks on the plane. He
Wayne's going to have to work on his pilot voice.
Looks to his left, and I'm like, hello, Mikey.
Oh, hell no. Get my bag out of the bottom of this fucking death trap now. My good clothes are in there. Get them out.
I've done it a bit on EA Simulator.
No.
So I reckon we've got this sorted. I'll land somewhere near Essex. I'm looking at the M11. It looks pretty tasty.
About the unluckiest hedgehog in the world makes it across all 6 lanes of the M11 and gets killed by Wayne on the embankment.
No, it'll probably go between the 2 front wheels. Oh, fucking hell. What was I worried about?
But it does seem like a weird thing to be given a job for life like that when you don't need any qualifications for it. It's like 3 of the most important jobs in the world: being a politician, being a prostitute, and being a parent. Like, you don't need any qualifications for them. At least to be a cabbie, you have to learn to drive. At least to be a hairdresser, you got to learn how to cut hair. You got to learn something. But these people who are going to politics or become parents, it's like there should be a handbook. There should be some guidance. They should be able to pass a test.
It's unskilled labor is what it is.
Yeah. So what about the Supreme Court in America? It's literally until they die, isn't it?
Yeah, but you also have to be a judge.
Retire. You don't technically have to be a judge.
Yeah,
I'm moving.
Yeah,
I'm moving. I'm gonna go get some boxes.
And one of the judges that Trump put on the bench, the woman Amy Coney Barrett, was it? She's never tried a case.
Yeah, she was never a trial.
Never tried a criminal case.
Yeah.
Fuck hell.
Seems right.
She's only like 21 years old. She's going to be on there for the next 70 years.
Something like that.
There's no job requirement under the Constitution to be a Supreme Court justice. You just have to be nominated by the president.
That's stupid.
They need to stack the Democrats need to grow a pair of balls and fucking make Puerto Rico and Washington D.C. states so they get 4 more senators. Split California into 6, get another 12 senators, maybe 11, and stack the Supreme Court. Put another 18 judges in who are all Republican, all Democrats, and then change the law to say you can't put any more on. That's what they need to do.
I mean, that's literally what the Republicans did. So
yes, I know. That's what they need to do. You know, they say, "Oh, then they go low, you go high." No, when they go low, you fucking kick them.
Kick them in the teeth.
As fucking hard as you can.
It's like you got a corner kick.
I mean,
you got to get a little spin on it.
Mikey, did you make a football reference just then?
No, that was soccer.
Oh.
See, football's a different sport.
Yeah, that's different.
That's different.
Is that the namby-pamby one where they all wear like helmets and stuff? It's so cute.
That's where the bear-sized people play.
Yeah.
No, that's rugby.
Yeah.
They don't have helmets in rugby.
Yeah.
They have a thing so they don't smash their teeth. That's about it.
Little mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Hi, Dexter.
Are you gonna play rugby? Are you, Timothy? Don't forget your pads. Don't forget your little helmet. Sorry.
Give him his passing.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right, Mikey. It's all right, Mikey. I've got a fellow Brit here, so yeah, we're tag teaming you.
That's fine.
Imagine if like a heavyweight boxer came out with a helmet on.
No, just in one of them Zorbs. Zorb balls.
Zorb ball. My mummy says boxing is dangerous. And do you know what? Americans, they wear a helmet to play bloody rugby, right? But they won't wear a helmet to drive a motorbike. It just baffles me.
It depends on the state you live in. I think Connecticut has helmet laws.
Oh, you fucking libertarian wankers. Can't tell me what to do.
I just that's wonderful though. It's like there was a protest against having to wear helmets in like Virginia or somewhere, and one of the guys turned up, fell off his motorbike, died. And the inquest were like, well, if he'd been wearing a helmet, he would still be with us. So, you know. And the Darwin Award goes to
Americans are absurd people. In everything, we contradict each other at every turn.
Yes. Yep. They're the most
100%.
They're once the most religious people in the world, but also the biggest purveyors of pornography in the world at the same time.
Oh, actually,
You're welcome.
I think that goes to Canada.
Surely there must be millions of Americans, right, who really believe in God, really believe in the Bible and everything, really believe that their dead relatives are watching them from heaven, and yet they're still wanking off to, like, I don't know, Japanese hentai tentacle porn. Surely at some point they must think, oh, hang on, me great uncle's watching me do this. Oh, I better stop.
Well, I mean,
Either they don't really believe or they don't give a fuck.
I mean, it is stressful to think about grandmama. Watch me totally crank this Soldier Boy, crank that.
oh my God. Oh, dear boy.
Tutting loudly.
I mean, it's got to be really awkward for her. She should probably go somewhere else. She should probably get out of
the Transformer porn again.
No, you get out of my room. You get out of here.
He's not even washed that sock.
This is my room. You're not allowed in here. I locked the door.
Mikey's like, I'll just shut the curtains. I'll never see.
So,
this just come up with the chains. Whoa! It's like, oh God! Oh!
It's the Christmas present.
Oh no! I'll knock next time. I'm sorry.
What's the reporting like about the war in Ukraine over in the States? What's it like? Because it's pretty wall to wall here at the moment.
I don't watch the news. I get all of my information a la carte. I go looking for it. What are you watching news programs at all, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I watch the news on occasion. It varies depending on your media source, how they're covering it. For a while, MSNBC was like wall to wall, and so was CNN. But the Supreme Court nomination hearings have sort of like tempered that a bit. But Fox News is just guns ablazing with that kind of stuff. I mean, but they have a very different take. The newspapers. I mean, I follow a few newspapers, but none of them have really like kept up the coverage. I think the American media has started to move on to a different news cycle where Ukraine is the top story every hour, but then after about 15 minutes, they move on to something else.
I think this is the problem with media coverage and the commercialization of news. There's a certain fatigue that comes in, and they have to find something else to get someone to look at their story.
Yeah.
So even though it's a humanitarian crisis and an absolute abomination of human rights and whatnot, people are getting bored of it. And in this clickbaity society that we live in, they need something to keep people's interest. And they move on so quickly. And I guarantee if something happens like spectacularly overnight or tomorrow in Ukraine, all of the media cycles, all of the press reviews are going to focus back on that. But I've noticed as an avid LBC listener that it's tailed off. I don't know if you've noticed that, Graham.
Well, yeah, I was going to call in yesterday and today about my experiences in Poland on the Ukrainian border, but yeah, the conversations weren't about that. They were about other stuff that's going on. Parties number 10, and
on that
today
point,
everyone just wanted to talk about. Oh, God, it was like their babies today. And then I listened to Eddie Mair later on, and it was like something similar about like everybody dying, and it was just like, oh my God, this is like the anti-Samaritans. This is like what you listen to.
Yeah,
like, what's the point? What's the point of going on anymore?
On that point, your video has been received, and I've got a response from that, and I'll speak to you off air about that.
Okay, cool. All right,
because there has been a response from a producer, so
okay,
yeah.
Hammer09, what's up, Hammer? It says Americans have historically short attention spans on bad news. We're desensitized to the violence. Word.
Yeah,
very true.
That's very true.
Very true.
You do get desensitized. You get it. You get this with anything, though. I mean, when you first hear something, it's shocking, and then later on, it's less shocking because you're just hearing the same thing again and again. That's how Trump got away with a lot of the things he got away with. You know, it was only shocking for the first few minutes, and then it just sort of died down into the background noise.
Well,
And it's very difficult for news producers to try and keep this stuff fresh and keep people's attention on it. And one of the things that I don't want to happen with Ukraine is for people to start forgetting that it's going on. We've got a war happening on our doorstep in Europe. Well, in Europe, the biggest conflict between two powers since World War II is happening now, and that can't be ignored, and that can't be put down into second, third place because I know some celebrities married their goldfish or something.
Well, after they broke up with the newt, I was invested after that.
Celebrity goldfish OnlyFans.
That's the one. Anyway.
What say we go home, gentlemen?
Yeah, let's wrap.
Yeah.
Wayne, wrap it.
So, anyway, you have been listening to and watching the Bin Podcast. We have had Brenna Duncan. We have had Jatarine, who are no longer here because they're in their hotel rooms separate. And we also had Tim Bristol, Mikey Femin, and we have had the pleasure of my friend of the Bin, Mr. Graham Hughes, who has been on a humanitarian crusade to the Ukraine just recently. And we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we bid you adieu.
And that's Wayne, by the way.
They don't need to know who he is.
And I will rate us out. Rose.
Okay, I like Rose.
All right, the raid is beginning.
By the way, can I ask a quick question? Has anyone seen Dune, the new one?
Yes.
No.
Any good?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Have you read the book?
No, I remember the old